If you don't get to sleep by 10 o'clock at night, you don't make as much melatonin. If you don't go to bed by 11, your liver doesn't cleanse. You know, your body is designed to drop in temperature 2 degrees at 2 o'clock and increase in temperature 2. And they go, how does it know that? Well, it's because of the energy, kind of like the scalar health from our sun, that's broadcasting frequencies.
Allowing yourself to have the mental capacity to ride those waves, right? Like there are moments the baby's crying, pacifier fell on the floor, the dog just grabbed it, the doorbell is ringing, I forgot I had food in the oven, like all these things are happening all at once, right? You just have to ride that wave and you know that you're coming off that wave, you're coming down, everything's gonna be fine, and being able to breathe through it. And so I really think that being proactive with your mental health is something that's so important. And this is coming from someone who, again, didn't have that before.
Welcome to the Brain Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Patrick Porter. Please join us on our mission to better a billion brains. Enjoy the episode and remember to share it with your family and friends.
I met Kate Griffith actually online when she was talking about BrainTap, and it impressed me so much about what she's doing and how she's doing it. She's a breathwork expert. She's a Reiki practitioner. She's a sound healer, and she's soon going to be one of the voices you'll hear on BrainTap, because I'm so impressed with what her and her husband are doing there in New Jersey City. I think that there's so many things that you can share with the world. Welcome to the podcast, Kate.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about your healing journey, because you know when I was doing my research, you've been through it and you've used and mastered the tools that are out there that anybody can use if they want to put the time, energy, and effort into it. Find the mentors that are going to guide them, and you're one of those mentors. We're going to be talking about it, but tell me a little bit about what got you on the journey.
Yeah, so it's that rock bottom. It was hitting that rock bottom that opened my world up to what mind, body, and spirit really truly meant, and what it meant to be, fully fit in that regard, 360 degree. When I say my rock bottom, right? Like my rock bottom from the outside looking in, life looked fine. But how I truly felt, this is decades of self-sabotage, of perfectionism, validation seeking, people pleasing. And what that looked like was disordered eating, numbing, alcohol abuse, toxic relationships, I guess self-sabotage, extreme behaviors. And again, from the outside looking in, no one would know. But I was living in this comfortable misery. Right. And, sometimes when you're experiencing so much stress and anxiety, you don't even realize it. And that's really where it was that I was, is that sometimes day to day, I didn't even realize how it is that I was feeling. And I got to a point where I had lost a chunk of hair the size of a cantaloupe just from stress. My body was beginning to shut down on me. And again, I hit this rock bottom where I am just like, you know what? Life doesn't have to be this way. I don't know if I want this life, if this is really and truly where I'm headed. And I felt like I was at this crossroad, this path where I was like, okay, I continue on the way that I am. And I didn't want that. I was considering like, okay, in one more year, one more birthday feeling this way, another 10 years, another decade, like, do I want to live like that? And, this is the universe, or God, source, whatever it is, really grabbing my attention and saying, okay, there is another way. Are you dedicated to doing it, right? If I open this door for you, are you going to walk through it? And I then had tried in the past traditional therapy. There's nothing wrong with traditional therapy at all. But I tried to work with different psychologists, psychiatrists, and I'll even tell you a story where I was sitting with a psychiatrist and, 60 minutes telling him my entire story, being vulnerable. And he looks at me at the end really seriously and says, hey, Kate, what is it that you want? And I say back, I just want to be happy. And he looks at me, grins, picks up his prescription notepad, waves it in the air and says, no, what is it that you want? And I looked at him like, I don't know what I don't know what you're going to write on that, sir. Like, I'm not the specialist here. And he didn't even ask, is that something that you would like to partake in? Is this a medication that you'll take? Would you like to try to talk to me again before I prescribe you something? And also ask me what it is that he should prescribe. And I don't know. And so he writes me a prescription for something, I never fill it, right? Like I knew deep down subconsciously that that's not the path that I wanted to take. Again, time and place for all things pharmaceutical, but it's not what I wanted. And so here I am, this rock bottom, and I'm like, I'm going to do it the alternative way. So I start to seek out different coaches, healers. There's a lady I connect with. I take one of her virtual breathwork sessions. I start to feel a little bit more like myself. I started to feel like something like, let's try that again. I do it again. I reach out to her. She becomes my coach, my mentor. And at this point, like I'm deep in. I am taking part in plant medicine. I am going to retreats. Like I'm doing all of it. I have an extremist personality. So I'm like, I'm going to use this extremist personality for some good. And so I really dove into my own healing. And my own healing was just a remembrance of who it is that I am, what it is that I came here for. And I finally felt like I was aligned, which then led to being more aligned in my mission, my purpose in life, where I began coaching others, got certified for sound healing, for Reiki, as you mentioned, and breath work, all of that good stuff. Met my partner along the way, who was already in the health and wellness sphere with his wellness center here in Jersey City, where we live. And, it just goes to show when you're in alignment, when you're doing the right things, when the universe is opening those doors, and again, you're stepping through them, like things happen fast. And that's where my healing journey took off and has led me to where it is that I am today. So that's the long-winded version. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, a lot of people would never leave 13 years of sales experience. They would be looking for the next sales job, that's going to make them happy or satisfy them. But you chose to move on, and I got to congratulate you. My background is psychology, but there's never been a study in psychology better than 12%. In the placebo effect is 40%. So that means they're talking people out of their change. In SSRIs, I'm not big on those because they're only actually approved for 14 days. I don't know anybody that starts taking them and stays on them for 40. So not taking them at all is a big win, because you started activating the world's greatest pharmacy, the one between your ears, which is great. So tell me a little bit about your center, because you have this wellness, this modern recovery spa that you and your husband have in Jersey City, New Jersey, and people are coming in there. You're doing all sorts of really what might be considered alternative. I like to tell people it's ancient traditions in modern technology, because these things were done before. It's just we're rediscovering them in a way that works in this day and age. So tell us a little bit about what you're finding at your clinic, in your spa.
Yeah, definitely. So at the spa, we have services that range from infrared sauna to cold plunge, flotation therapy, Normatec compression therapy, massage, fascial stretch, hypnosis. I facilitate the breath work and Reiki, and we also have events. And what we notice is that, yes, individuals come in for all of those services, right? But what they come in for is to just get away from the chaos of the world, their job, family, stress, like whatever it is, that the healing begins when they walk through those doors. They walk through those doors. It's their little safe haven. And yeah, they might get their sauna, get their detox on, but they really just need that safe space to go and to retreat to. And so, of course, all the modalities are really meant to be proactive. My husband comes from a family of doctors practicing traditional medicine, and he grew up knowing that there was a different way, knowing that there was something missing. And so it's really being proactive with your health. And that's the way that we live. And we try to work with the clients that come in to be more proactive with their health. And it's really amazing what a 6-minute cold plunge can do for someone's mind, right? It's amazing seeing the individuals that come into, our events and the things that they manifest by being in that space. It's really beautiful to witness.
That's awesome. Now, you had a big event in February, right? I mean, you had a big addition to the team that wasn't there before, and you used BrainTap. So tell us a little bit about that journey, and tell us a little bit about your son. What's happening now?
Yeah, so my son was born 6 weeks ago. And so through my pregnancy, so my husband and I have been using BrainTap for probably about 2 years. We have 2 headsets, and we use them at night. And a tip that I will give to anyone, and anyone I recommend BrainTap to, is to put the app on a device that you're not using, so that if you're using it at night, you turn your meditation on using a device that you can't then go to like see an email pop in or a text message. So phones are out of the bedroom. Get in bed. Turn our BrainTaps on. I'm sure we look so cute in bed with our visors down and everything. But I was using this during my pregnancy with the stress-free childbirth series. There's 24 meditations on there, and I would listen to those every single night, because as a new first-time mama getting ready to experience an unmedicated natural birth at a birthing center rather than at a hospital, there's a lot going through your mind. And so at nighttime is the time where I would notice that my brain would start to think and worry and wonder about what's to happen, what's to come, how life as a new parent is going to be. And BrainTap is the one thing that would allow me to get an amazing night's sleep if I would turn that on, let all my worries melt away, and just melt into this beautiful meditation. And also, we always choose the dual voice, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of people love that one. I think about 95% of the people listen to those once they do. It kind of gets the brain to turn off and really turn on to the inner information. Now, I know that most people, if they spent that much time learning sales and developing sales, and I'm sure you're using some of those techniques in a healthy way in your business now, but when you think about what was happening, like I said, most salespeople would just look for the next sales job. I've seen it so many times, and I had a franchise, so I hired a lot of salespeople. They would just come and go. They were always looking for that next thing that was going to make them happy. But tell us what led you to pursue empowerment coaching, because when you think about it, and I know personally, we did a experiment in India with a group called Heartfelt Meditation, where we measured the brains and heart HRV of people doing meditations where they send energy to other people. And the guru, Daji, was surprised when I showed him that the people actually sending the energy got more energy than the person they were sending it to. And I said, because the more you give, the more you actually get. So what triggered for you to get out of that, the old rat race, if you will, the old, collecting money for other people and maybe doing things that didn't give you the validation or the heart-centered activity that you wanted, and get you into this empowerment coaching business?
Yeah. So I remember, getting paid every 15 days from my corporate job. And I remember it just being so unemotional. Like I wasn't attached to it. It was what it was. And then I would make a few dollars at an event, like pennies compared to what I was making in my corporate job. But it was so heartfelt. Like I just felt so amazing from that. So selfishly, there is an aspect of, like you mentioned, giving and giving to others and holding that space. The space holders that I had during my journey, when I was healing, when I was awakening, meant so much to me. They still mean so much to me. Probably not a day goes by where I don't think of those individuals. And so that to me is something that is irreplaceable. I can be replaced. I was replaced from the companies that I worked at, right? I was replaced in 2 seconds by someone else that came in. And this work is something that I feel like is irreplaceable. When you can change someone's life, change their outcome, can offer them something different, can give them permission to be themselves, like there is no greater reward in life.
I know that people are watching saying, hey, I want to work with this person because you've been through what they've been through. A lot of people have been through that. They've done the corporate business. They tried to serve other people in a way that didn't serve them. And now they're realizing, hey, they're not fulfilled at the end of the day. A lot of people feel like they're pulling a parachute all day long. At the end of the day, they release it. They fall asleep on the couch and they wake up the next day, rinse and repeat. They're not getting what they want. What is your perfect client? If you could dial up the perfect client, the people that you support, that you feel like you could really help, give me a little bit of that avatar. Who are you working with?
Yeah. So they say in the coaching space that your ideal client, or who you can support best, is who you were 5 years ago. So I sort of look at that, and that doesn't have to be true for everyone, but it very much so is for me, actually. So who it is that this individual that knows there's something else, right? They know that there is something different. There's a different way of being. they're maybe just struggling to find exactly what that is. And that's where that permission comes in, that permission to explore, permission to feel safe in your body, feel safe in your heart, feel safe communicating, and really, really just having this trust of self. So that's the individual that I attract, is also someone who's really looking to find their authentic expression. And they know it's there. Everyone knows that it's there. And it's really just a matter of, again, finding it, finding and creating that safe space so you can actually explore through self-inquiry, through, really, really just allowing yourself to be. We don't allow ourselves to be enough. We're always doing.
Mhm. No, that's great. And I know we're going to
Yeah.
share in the comments for those listening that you can actually go to, it's called About Five. I am Kate Griffith, and she's offering to provide you some time to go over your kind of blueprint, you were calling it, or soul path
Yeah.
synergy session, which I think is awesome. It's a 90-minute session. And you can check that out. It's $111, I think, or something like that. So you can
Yeah.
check that out and see if that's
Yeah.
something you want to do, which is great. And I know that when you think about your journey and what you're doing and how things are going, why don't you share a little bit about the basis of your coaching, like the principles you use, the pillars of your practice? Because I think when people find out, here you are, when I've been following you since my staff said, hey, she's posting about BrainTap, so those always go
Yeah.
on the radar. I can't look at everyone because we've got like 120,000 users, but some people rise to the top, and you've been sharing, and you're out there doing. And I love people that are doers, not just talkers. So tell us a little bit about the basis of your coaching and some of the principles, maybe some of the pillars that you're looking at, because I really think people who
Yeah.
watch this that resonate with you need to know there's a core here that they can learn from.
Yeah, of course. So, it's a lot of mindset work. But before we get to the mindset work, because I really and truly believe like our thoughts create feelings, feeling creates action, action creates results. If we zoom out on our life is a compilation of all the action that we've taken and all the results that we've received. And so if that's the case, then really it's our thoughts and our feelings that are dictating our reality. And in every single moment, every single action, we are manifesting. Most people think of manifestation as sitting down, writing it, thinking about it, visualizing, but we're manifesting every single moment of every single day. And for every action, there is a reaction, right? And so, but before we get to that part where we can actually start to tweak thoughts and tweak ways of thinking and belief, it's really calming the nervous system. Having a regulated nervous system is the most important piece to what it is that I do. Because until we have that, it's really hard to observe. It's really hard to observe your thoughts if you aren't regulating your nervous system. So we talk a lot about grounding, talk a lot about how and what grounding looks like for each individual, what it looks like to feel safe in the body, feel safe in the heart, so that we can begin to create some of that self-inquiry so that you can observe your thoughts and where your beliefs lie. And then we can get to the part where we get into acceptance, where we get into acknowledging all that we are, where we can get into releasing the beliefs that are no longer serving and really creating new neural pathways, new ways of being, new ways of acting. So it really comes down to, first and foremost, that foundation, which is calming the nervous system, regulating ourselves.
That's great. And as someone who's been using BrainTap for some time now, and of course, we talked a little bit about your journey using it with stress-free childbirth and unmedicated childbirth, which I think is congratulations. That means your child got off without having to be medicated as well. A lot of people don't realize that the baby gets it as well, or they don't think about it. But tell us a little bit about your journey with using BrainTap so the users understand that you use tools. And I think with your spa, of course, you have a lot of tools that like we have here in New Bern, which is great tools. I mean, there's a lot of things outside of BrainTap as well that work to help regulate that nervous system and calm it down and get it working. But tell us a little bit about your BrainTap journey. Maybe share a little bit about how you and your husband use it together, maybe.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, is that we use the BrainTap at night, and the best way for me to gauge whether something is working for me is when I feel regulated, right? I can tell when my nervous system is out of whack. I can tell, like I've been doing this a while now, and so I can tell. And sleep is the first way for me to tell how it is that I'm feeling. And when I use BrainTap Ma at night, my sleep is entirely different than when I don't use it. So that's how I know. That's how I know that the meditations are working. That's how I know that I'm receiving those positive suggestions throughout. And then, again, like we mentioned with childbirth, is my labor was 52 hours. So 52 hours, that's 3 days. That's a weekend vacay. And so not once did I say, I can't do this. And I really and truly believe it's because I was really taking that stress-free childbirth series on BrainTap to heart. And I was in it. Like I was in it every night with those meditations. And I really truly believe like those are the neural pathways that I needed so that I could believe, right? If your mind and your brain is telling you can't do it, your body is going to follow suit. And it didn't. My brain, my mind, like I was not going to let it go there. I was never going to let it say, I can't do this. Now looking back, I still can't believe I did it, but I didn't, throughout that experience, I didn't let it go there. And I really, again, truly believe it was my practices and BrainTap being such a huge part of that with that, again, that stress-free childbirth series. So thank you for creating that. Thank you for allowing me to take part in that so that we could bring our baby into the world in the way that we planned.
Yeah, most people don't know. I used to work for a company called Arizona Health Council where we used to work with pregnant teens, and we would teach the teens to use those kind of techniques. Of course, we didn't have, this was way back before there were cassettes at that time, but we were teaching them live. And it was funny because the mothers would go, why isn't she stressed out? Why isn't she worried? And I said, because, pain is really optional. And if she learns to breathe, she'll get through it. And I remember one young girl, she was like 13 years old, telling jokes to her mother between calming her mother down while she's having the baby, which was really good. I mean, it didn't always happen that way, but it was very good. And I think that you're being able to get out there and tell people about it. I think more people will use it now because there's a lot of people out there stressing out, like you said, first-time mothers. But some people have a traumatic childbirth and then they're scared when they get pregnant again, what's going to happen. And every situation is unique. So I think that's great. I want to kind of turn the conversation a little bit because you said earlier, I didn't realize because it wasn't in your bio, but you said you had experimented with plant-based medicines, which we're now getting into. We were just approved by a group called Bone Frog, which is the Navy SEALs. And when they do their psychedelics or whatever, we're the integration now. So they do their BrainTap, and we do a lot with ketamine too. We do a lot with ketamine clinics and integrating that neuroplasticity. And just maybe if you can just share your journey, it doesn't have to be about BrainTap specifically, but how some of these plant-based medicines help to expand your consciousness and make you aware of, changes that are out there, because a lot of people are scared of these psychedelics. I guess if you overuse them or abuse them, but a lot of people don't know. We did a psilocybin study in Dallas with vets, and some of the vets did not want to take a psilocybin because they were under the false impression that they become addictive. And so I created a series of gamma sessions where people were having a psilocybin trips without a psilocybin, which are on BrainTap right now if you search gamma. And they're using these now in the military to help these vets to integrate, because it takes energy to make these changes. And sometimes I think if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I'd have said, no way, it's not good. But now we know the studies are out there, the things are happening. So tell us a little bit about your journey with psychedelics.
Yeah, so again, I had wrote at one point that I wanted to experiment and take part in a ceremony. And again, if the universe provides that, because literally probably a week later, an opportunity came up. And so I had to say yes. It's really the way that I operate now, is if you tell the universe something, then you have to take that leap of faith. So it was San Pedro was my first experience. And I knew the facilitators, I trusted them. It was a weekend. And, it was the most beautiful group of individuals and heartfelt. It's one of the first times that I felt my heart expand. Like I really felt that heart opening. And it was one of the first times that I really and truly felt like I connected to Mother Earth. We were, outside majority of the day throughout the experience. And it was just a beautiful catalyst to continuing to open my heart in other ways, right? Without the medicine is always with you. and to really connect with Mother Earth. So I think those are the two main takeaways, is the heart opening and then just being connected to all that's around us and really and truly being rooted and grounded.
That's awesome. Now you
Yeah.
said when we were asking you questions about this interview and that you said it's important that first time moms believe in brain health and fitness during pregnancy, especially
Hmm.
for the first few weeks with a newborn. Can you kind of expand on that a little bit so we understand what you meant by that?
Yeah, definitely. So, this is the biggest shift in your life, I think. So far, the biggest shift that I've encountered in my own life so quickly, right? And also the biggest shift in hormones is right after childbirth for a woman. And so knowing that and being able to be proactive, right? Like the health and wellness center that my husband and I run, it's all about being proactive, and as being proactive as you can, making a plan of action, allowing yourself to have the mental capacity to ride those waves, right? Like there are moments the baby's crying, pacifier fell on the floor, the dog just grabbed it, the doorbell is ringing, I forgot I had food in the oven. Like all these things are happening all at once, right? You just have to ride that wave, and you know that you're coming off that wave, you're coming down, everything's going to be fine, and being able to breathe through it. And so I really think that being proactive with your mental health is something that's so important. And this is coming from someone who, again, didn't have that before. And so I always worry that, or I think possibly that the old version of myself that dealt with a lot of stress and anxiety is going to creep in. And during my pregnancy, that version of myself never crept in. And during now postpartum, I'm sometimes waiting, like, is today going to be the day where that old version that experienced so much stress, anxiety, and worry is going to creep into my life? And it hasn't. But that's because I've been so proactive in making sure that I am mentally stable, and that my mind is a really safe space. Like that is something that is huge to me, is that my mind is a safe space. And if it isn't, checking in with myself, checking in with my heart, asking my heart what it is that I need, being honest with myself, and discussing with my partner, right? What is it that if there's something that I need, if it's 10 minutes to take
Mhm.
a shower and to feel like myself, maybe it's a 10-minute snooze, whatever it is, but really being honest with myself. So, but that only comes from being able to hold that mental capacity, that mental space for yourself, and allow yourself to have that brain fitness.
No, that's great. No, it's been said you can't simultaneously go toward a goal and have depression at the same time, or
Mm,
anxiety. So when you take action, it's so important. And you talk about inspiration to take action, following your heart. You've mentioned it a few times during this call. So when you
yeah.
tell somebody, when you're coaching somebody and they're a little scared of what they're going to do, or they think, hey, it's too late for me, I can't do this. What would you say to
Mm.
somebody like that? I mean, there's going to be people out there listening that are maybe they're thinking, you know what, I just got, this is my lot in life. I'm going to be miserable. I've just got to own it. Because a lot of people think that's spirituality. That's the old
Yeah.
school spirituality. They think, oh, I'm suffering, so I must be, earning points in heaven or something, which is ridiculous, but people think that way. So what would you say to somebody like that if you were coaching them?
Yeah, I always recommend just a small pivot, right? A small pivot in the way that you do things. Doesn't have to be this huge overhaul of your entire life. It might be, and it might be over time, but just a one baby step. Whether that means like a 5-minute meditation in the morning, whether that means taking a different route to work, whether that means ordering a different, going to a different coffee shop, like just a small pivot. You start to build that muscle to pivot and do things just slightly differently, then you can do other things slightly differently. You start to think differently. You start to experience things differently. Like allow a little bit of magic into your life is what I always tell everyone, is like, I want to pull the magic out of people. It's already there. It's already waiting. It might be sitting dormant, but we want to pull
Mhm.
that magic out in the everyday moments. So turn something that's mundane into something that's really fun. Like allow yourself to turn the music on, dance around, do some breathing, and then get back to work. Like, so I always recommend just start with something like baby steps. And there's a book, I can't actually remember what it's called, but it talks all about just the 1% shifts in life. And
Mhm.
1% shift, that might be all that we need, that little tweak to change the whole trajectory of our life. So don't make it bigger in your head than it needs to be, is what I would tell someone.
Great. You know, there,
Yeah.
you say there's an importance to creating a compelling future. In fact, actually, that's one of the techniques I have in BrainTap. It's in my book, Discover the Language of the Mind. Most people don't realize that you can create your future through your thoughts, actions, and beliefs, as you said earlier. And, you know, they don't realize that thoughts don't have to become things. You can change those thoughts and create the things that are happening in you, through you, and around you. So when somebody says to you that they don't feel like they have a future, you know, a lot of people, they don't feel like they know how to act, they don't know what to do. How do you coach somebody through that process?
Yeah, so a lot of this is allowing them to release the past, right? That's allowing them to in my methodology is to accept and acknowledge that the past is the past. We cannot change that. We can't. I'm sorry, we can't. And just allowing yourself to accept that that's the way that it was, but that does not have to be the way that it's going to be in the future. And really allowing that to set in. Once that sets in, then action steps become a little bit more doable, allowing that past to not linger anymore. So there is a little bit of, mysticism of my practice, a little bit of mystical. So we like to bring in some of the energy work and the energy healing to allow what's already done to be done, not define. When we start to notice that like there are like more micro moments, I talked about this on Instagram recently, there's little micro moments in life that are more defining than those big macro moments, the ones that are the milestones that that we have in our life. Is that those little moments can define, and so allowing each individual just to take action from that knowing versus, oh, this is who I am. This is not who you are. You get to decide who you are. So there's a little bit of tough love, a little bit of the mystical that comes in, and a little bit of, seeing the future in a different light.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about scalar health, because we had one of our doctors down in Florida actually did some research with scalar health down in Florida. And we showed that even though it looks bizarre, you're just looking at screens kind of flickering and sending frequencies to you, but we showed that it upregulated the nervous system or downregulated the sympathetic system, upregulated the parasympathetic, and made healing happen and created the environment for that. Tell us where you explain that maybe to people, because it is a evolving technology. I think it's one of the big breakthroughs we have out there in the world today. So tell us a little bit about that and what people can expect if they experience scalar health.
Yeah, so Scalar Health, we had a second floor lounge at the Wellness Center here in Jersey City, and we decided to invest in this the energy enhancement system, and Scalar Health is the name that we go by here, and it's a lounge. So all you do is come in and sit and experience the service. But it's like you mentioned, it's the environment. So we can't heal in the environment that created our sickness, right? And so within this environment, this is bringing us into a place of homeostasis, we'll call it, it's bringing you into a state of, pure love, essentially. And when you're in that state, the body wants to heal. Like the body knows how to heal itself. And we only delay that by a lot of the ways that we think and the behaviors and habits that we have. And so when you can take yourself out of that and you can sit in this lounge and allow your body, again, like you said, to downregulate, and you experience healing. So we're seeing so many amazing results from the people that are coming in regularly and experiencing this. And it's breakthrough technology, like you mentioned. It's absolutely beautiful what it is, again, that those that are coming in are experiencing. And it's really just allowing the body to do what the body knows how to do best, and that's heal.
Right. Yeah. Most people don't realize that our epigenetic system changes every 40 seconds based on the frequencies that are surrounding us, because everything started as light, brought down into sound, and then became frequencies. So our cells actually are educated by these frequencies. So it's the principle we use with BrainTap, but this is kind of on steroids because it's the whole environment. You get the kinesthetic system into it and the whole nervous system into it, and the body will change. When people go, what do you mean? I said, well, If you don't get to sleep by 10 o'clock at night, you don't make as much melatonin. If you don't go to bed by 11, your liver doesn't cleanse. And if your body is designed to drop in temperature 2 degrees at 2 o'clock and increase in temperature 2. And they go, how does it know that? Well, it's because of the energy, kind of like the scalar health from our sun, that's broadcasting frequencies. And unfortunately, we got a lot of smog in our world. We get 50 million pulses per second from a 5G tower, and our body's trying to figure out what the heck is that telling me to do? Well, these aren't healthy frequencies. So these are healthy frequencies. So I encourage anyone in the area to go there and experience this, because it's phenomenal. We've proven it out with our NeuroCheck technology, where we showed the nervous system gets a response. A lot of people think, oh, I'm just sitting here. No, you can measure the results in the nervous system. It's pretty incredible stuff. And I think it's great. So I encourage them to come by there and try that out. And when I'm in New Jersey, I'm going to stop by there and see it, because the one in Florida, I wasn't able to get to last time, but our doctor that was down there, he showed me all the results. I said, that's phenomenal. And they have a backlog of people trying to get this technology. I want to have it for my 88 acres. I have 88 acres I just purchased here in New Bern. I'm putting a healing center out on the property so that we can bring people out for a week or two at a time and have healing. And I think it would be great to have one of these rooms where people can just kind of chill out, like you said, and really get their body in tune, because the brain and the body are designed to heal. They're not designed to be sick. I mean, they're designed to heal, but we got to get the right environment. So most people have the wrong environment, whether it's their internal thinking or their foods or whatever's going on. So tell me a little bit about what I've forgotten to ask you, or what would you like to reinforce? Because people are going to go see your website. You can tell us a little bit about what's on your website, what they can learn there. They can follow you on Instagram. You're very active there. And they can come see you at the Om.Life Wellness Spa in Jersey City. Tell us a little bit about what you want to reinforce here today.
Yeah, I think it's really just like, you have the power to create anything and everything, whatever it is that you want in this life. And you're never too old, it's too late. We can't keep using those excuses, right? And whatever it is that you feel a calling for, whatever it is that you're feeling in your heart, like take that leap, take action, like allow yourself to be all that you are. That's what we are meant to come here and do, and explore who that version of yourself is. And so I think that's really what I would leave everyone with, is allow yourself to create your future. Bring the mind into it, right? The mind fitness, and allow your mind to work for you, not against you. Be a team. Let your heart and your mind fully be a team.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your BrainTap experiences online. And I'm going to encourage everyone to follow you on social media. We'll have all those links below. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. You're everywhere, doing as much as you can. I know with a new child, I know you've got to take care of them as well, and your husband, but you're out there doing it. So I applaud you for that. And like you said, you got to take action. And I love your saying about thoughts create feelings, feelings create actions, and actions create results. So I think if people follow that 3-step kind of approach, they're gonna make massive changes in their life. So thank you for being who you are. Thank you for helping change the world and helping us to reach our mission of bettering 1 billion brains. So I'm going to encourage everyone to go check out Kate. We'll have all the links below. Please take her up on her offer to give you that soul path synergy session. It's 90 minutes. I think it's going to be hopefully you've learned here that her heart's in it. She's going to be there for you and coach you through it. And it's a very small investment of money for that. So please, I encourage you to go check her out, see what's going on. And if you're in the area, I would encourage you to go check out their clinic, because it's, or spa. I say clinic because I'm a doctor, but I know that people have spas as well. And I think that's awesome what you're doing. So thank you very much for being a guest on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for all that you are doing with BrainTap.
Okay. So again, you've listened to an episode of the Brain Fitness Podcast, where we bring you tips and tricks for your personal life that will help you to maximize and optimize your health and wellness. And Kate's one example of taking action, doing what's necessary to change her environment. And she's even got it in her spa, where she actually literally changes your environment to help regulate your nervous system and upregulate who you are. So please tune in next time for the next Brain Fitness Podcast. We'll bring you another guest like Kate, who will share with you their experiences and how they're using BrainTap and how they're changing the world with us, because it's going to take a village, really. It's going to take a tribe of people that understand that we can take back our power. And success doesn't come with a pill, because you can't have the pill without the skill. You got to have that skill, and then you don't need that pill. So thank you again, Kate, and we'll tune in next time for the Brain Fitness Podcast. Thank you, BrainTap Nation. We'll talk soon.
Thank you for joining us on our mission to better a billion brains. Follow at Dr. Patrick Porter on social media for updates, and remember to practice brain fitness every day.